Hello everyone, I am LilyMoo961, and if you've seen parts 1 and 2 of this series where I'm rambling about NieR Automata's music, then you already know what to expect, which means I don't have to explain anything and we can just dive right on in. The first track we are going to take a look at today is called Significance, but this time the vocals on this track will be by Marina Kawano and Emmy Evans. So as discussed before, this is the menu music, but this version of the menu music, I believe, appears only after you complete Route B, I believe. Don't quote me on that, I don't know. Because it's the menu music and it's typically in the background, I'm usually not paying attention to it while I'm playing the game. And as we talked about before, when we talked about the first version of Significance, there are definitely lyrics from the version by Marina Kawano and Emmy Evans played backwards at some point in this track. I don't know when yet because I haven't gotten to it yet. But it does play. And aside from just those little tidbits, I can't say that I have anything new to add in terms of analyzing this particular song. Oh, wow. Okay, that was interesting. It's like I heard the vocals then, and it's like, was that Miss Kawano or was that Emmy Evans? I don't know. It was kind of off. I feel like I've heard this version of the track more often because it took me a very long time to actually do the final ending for NieR Automata, which is ending E. I'm not going to discuss it, but it took me a long time to actually complete that ending. So I do recognize hearing this menu music a lot more. But yeah, beyond that, there's nothing I really need to say. So I guess we'll just move right along. Unlike the first track, I have a whole lot more to say about the one that we're about to cover next, which is the City Ruins theme, but the Shade version this time. So let's dive in and check and see what that's gonna hold for us. Okay, immediately with this particular track, when you listen to it on the actual soundtrack, it starts in the dynamic mode immediately, which kind of shows a contrast between what the City Ruins theme had been in the first two routes of the game and what it becomes once you enter Route C, because this track does not play until we get into Route C of the game, which is essentially where everything changes. So it's actually a really good symbolism for what you just experienced within the game when you hear this particular track for the first time. One other thing that is interesting about this track is instead of Janique Nicole singing, we have Emmy Evans this time, which offers a different feel for the track overall. With Janique Nicole, it was a more relaxed sort of feeling, more mysterious. And here with this track, it's actually hard to describe the emotions that Emmy's vocals invoke here. It almost seems that it's purposeful, just as the other version of this song was, but now it seems to have something. In a way, it feels lighter because the vocals are higher, but because of the context of the story and what's happening, especially when it comes to 9S, if you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. Things are a lot darker now. And he has a purpose in mind for this portion of the game, but it is substantially darker. And it's a really neat contrast that this music feels lighter and feels a little more bouncy when the story is anything but at this point. That's a really neat contrast, I guess I could say. The percussion is a little bit more energetic as well. And when the percussion kicks off and you just hear the vocals from Emmy Evans within this track, on the actual soundtrack. Like, I wouldn't say it's eerie or anything, but it definitely stands out in a way that makes you think, like, it makes you feel the change that you're about to encounter, even just within the soundtrack. There's going to be some new tracks that we're going to hear that kind of showcase just some different things that we haven't heard within the soundtrack yet. So that's an exciting thing. One thing that I really love about this music, aside from the fact that it's bouncy, I just realized that's a weird word to describe this music, but it does have a more energetic rhythm. And that's, again, it's an interesting thing for this point in the story, considering what's going on. It's almost as if this song has a more relaxed vibe, and yet it doesn't. It's really hard to describe what it is I feel when I listen to this music, because it is definitely substantially different from the previous City Ruins track. This one's just different. It just feels different, has different emotions attached to it, because again, it's this point in the story where you're still playing the game and you still have new story elements to uncover, but everything just feels different. This song is heavier. That's the word I've been looking for this whole time. This track is heavier. And I don't mean in the emotional sense, but it's just heavier in pretty much every aspect. There's a little bit more sound to it, more energy packed into it. Not as relaxing. It's more, get the show on the road. We got things to do. You ain't got time to rest no more, sort of thing. So, yeah, I think that's all I really need to say about this track. And I know I kind of rambled a lot with this one, but it's just really good. Like, the symbolism for this track within the story context. I'm not sure if I talked as much about how the music would make someone feel outside of the game, but having played the game multiple times and having experienced this music a great amount, it's just interesting to really like dig in and think about it and discuss what it is this music represents just within the story. So, anywho, I think it's time to move on to the next track. The next track that we are going to get into today is called End of the Unknown. Okay, right away, again, as I was saying with the previous track, it was kind of hinting toward this idea that we're going to hear some new sounds. And End of the Unknown is one of the more unique tracks on the soundtrack, in that it has sort of this like EDM vibe. And like, I'm nodding my head to it right now, just being like like you would think of it as like, if you heard it in the club, it's like one it's just one of those tracks where like somebody, you just know somebody would be like up on a table just twerking to it. It's that type of music. Like, I got a visual in my head of just like somebody just like shaking the booty to this. So funny. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to derail the entire progress of this video. I know that we're supposed to be talking about NieR Automata's music, but can I draw your attention to the fact that J-Hope is like performing some kind of voodoo trick while Jungkook is dancing? Like, I don't know what he's doing, but it's so funny. I've never really noticed it before, but it's just like it's just like, what kind of voodoo are you doing? What is going on? I'm losing my mind again. I'm sorry. We'll get back on track now. It's just I'm editing, and I was editing in this clip, and I just see J-Hope with basically the jazz fingers, just like it's like, were you trying to make Jungkook's butt magical or something? Oh my gosh. But, okay, so story time when it comes to this track. At this point in the game, this is when you kind of meet Adam and Eve for the first time post the desert region. So it's kind of their theme. And it definitely has this technological sound that kind of hints toward, their origins and things such as that, since they're machine-based life forms, but they look more like the androids that we see throughout the game. And again, I can't get over this sort of EDM vibe, and like it's definitely a contrast from everything that we've heard before. And so like this definitely just feels like dance music, and it's very interesting though, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. Keiichi Okabe was bringing some of his Tekken experience into this. Because fun fact, in case you guys didn't know, I'm sure most of you watching this do know this, but I believe he used to be the composer for the Tekken series, mainly for I believe Tekken Tag Tournament. I'm not sure when he stopped composing the music for Tekken, but I know he did a Tag Tournament, I believe. I'll have to check. See, this is what happens when you don't research things beforehand. But yeah, this is definitely a fun track. Definitely very bouncy. It's a fun track. Enjoyable. I definitely enjoy hearing it within the game. It doesn't play a whole lot. There is one story moment that's interesting where this track kind of plays. And it's when 2B is going to rescue 9S. I wonder if that's a story spoiler for those who haven't played the game, but, well, you don't know the context. It's fine. It's fine. So she's going to save 9S from Adam, and at some point during his boss section, it switches from the copied city theme, which I believe we'll be covering in this video today. It switches from that and goes to this track. So that's a little interesting thing that happens in the game, and beyond that, I don't think there's anything I really need to say about this song except that it's catchy, it's fun, and it makes me want to dance, and I like it. That's all you need to know. Okay, we're moving on now. Now we will be taking a look at Voice of No Return, the violin version. One thing that you'll notice about this song, if you're listening to it on the soundtrack, is that the violin is taking the melody where Emmy would normally be singing. There are some vocals in this, but they mainly just kind of come in as filler, and the main melody is just the violin pretty much the entire time. So there's not a whole lot that I can really say about this piece, except that the violin is beautiful in this track, and the little bit of vocals that you do get within this is very, very, very nice, very peaceful, and it does have a richer sound. Musically, it has a richer sound than the guitar version, and kind of emits a more emotional energy than, say, the original version, or the guitar version, I should say. The guitar version is a little more relaxed and has a somber tone, but with the violin having the melody, it kind of takes it to, I wouldn't say it's like necessarily better than the other one. It's just a little more richer sound wise. It just has a little bit more to it, a little more oomph. And especially like in the game, when this version combines with Emmy's vocals, it's gorgeous. Personally, I do prefer the guitar version. I do like that version a lot more for myself personally because it's more relaxed and mellow. But I like this version a lot too, especially when Emmy's vocals, like when she's singing the melody, is actually on there. But it's not available on the soundtrack. I guess it's one of those unreleased arrangements or something, because on this particular version of the violin track for this, it doesn't have Emmy's vocals singing any of the Chaos language lyrics. So I don't know what that's about, but that's just how it ended up being. So I guess there's nothing else I need to say. Definitely an enjoyable track. Definitely one that I like a lot, but I definitely prefer the guitar version more. So that's all I have to say about this. So we'll just move on to the next one, which is Pascal. One thing that I love about this track is the percussion, the way it kind of sounds like there are children like clapping. And the reason I say children is because you are going to hear children's vocals later on, which I know I talked about not liking that in some of the previous songs, but in this one it's perfection and it sounds really good, especially with the more mechanical vocals that you can kind of hear sometimes. It's just really good. It's bouncy and it's fun and it makes me want to dance. It's just really, it just totally fits the environment that this song plays in. It is absolutely perfect. This is another song that my dad really liked a lot. Whenever we went to Pascal's village, this is another one where he didn't necessarily fall asleep, but he just really liked this song too. It's just got a nice rhythm and it's pleasant, it's fun, it's very joyful, and it definitely fits this machine village very well. This machine of pacifist machines. It's very welcoming. It's almost like you're going to this new place and the people there are just automatically embracing you. Like they don't know you at all. You're a complete stranger to them, but they're just like, come in, come and view our home, come and eat our food and da da da. Even though the machines don't eat, like, anywho, you get the point. It's just one of those types of places. It has that sort of feel. This music makes it have that sort of feel. And it's a perfect fit for Pascal, the character, because Pascal cares a lot about his villagers and he takes a special initiative to teach the children of the village different things. So it's just great that it has these mechanical vocals as well as the childlike vocals. Together, it just makes a great combination. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's great. It's great. It's great. I'm doing it in the rhythm because I'm listening to it now. And no, I don't care if it's annoying. Okay. Yeah, it's a great little track and it's just really nice and it feels good. It's a very welcoming and happy track and I have nothing more to say about it. It is just really nice. So we're going to move on to the next one. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I present the certified bop that is the Forest Kingdom theme. Oh my goodness. Let me explain something about this track real quick. When this game first came out and I played through the game for the first time, this is one of those tracks that kind of fell into the background for me, during that time. Because when you go into the Forest Kingdom and you're playing through it, it's a very stressful time the first time that you go through it. Not only because of the camera angles constantly changing through the different environments that you go in when you're within the Forest Kingdom, but also because when you're in the Forest Kingdom, you'll hear like the quiet version most of the time. The medium version you'll hear like a little bit every now and again. And the dynamic version you hear within the castle when you're fighting stuff and trying to navigate your way. So you're really not paying attention to the music all that much when you're playing through the game proper. Or at least I didn't. Not the first time. And even like the second or third time wasn't really paying attention to it as much. But when I bought the soundtrack for the game for Christmas and I listened to this track, the way that it builds up from the quiet beginning and then builds up to these like nasally vocals, and then when that percussion kicks in, it hasn't kicked in over here on this end yet because I'm listening to it live right now, but when it does, you'll know, because stuff will happen over here. I'll just be like, yes, honey, yes. But it hasn't happened yet. The point being, this track is phenomenal. And here it comes now. It's coming. Wait. There it is. Okay. When the beat kicks in, that's when you know that this track is not playing around. I love this track. The way it just progresses and the way that it really showcases the environment that you would normally be in within the game just through the music. Like, you don't even have to play the game to feel the environment that this would be in. It's really cool. Like, even if you didn't know the title and someone just played this for you, you would know that this was in some kind of like grand foresty location or in some type of jungle, something where there's just a lot of vegetation and you don't know what might hit you. Just a place surrounded by nature and like secret passageways and all these different things that you may encounter like while exploring to find treasure or something. That's what this song kind of invokes, and I absolutely love it. It slaps so hard. Like, I gained an appreciation for this track in particular because it is just so good. Again, the way it builds up to when the beat kicks in for the first time is absolutely stellar, and then it just kind of keeps going and has this rhythm and energy that's just great. It's great background noise when I'm doing chores and stuff, which I happen to do a lot because, well, that's a whole other story. But the point being is that, like, this track is great to listen to pretty much any time. And I've gained an appreciation for it because when I first played through the game, this was one of those tracks that just kind of fell by the wayside and did not register in my brain. But now, like, after I bought the soundtrack and actually listened to this track in full a good amount of times, it was just, it's one of the best. It's really, really good. It has no right to be this good, especially because, like, this song doesn't necessarily have any, like, major story significance aside from the fact that it plays in the Forest Kingdom. And you usually only hear pieces of the music in certain locations within the Forest Kingdom. So the different versions of this song, like, when they're all combined together, that's what makes the money. That's what makes the magic. And oftentimes in the game, the pieces of this track are separated from each other. And it's like, no! It's like, I need this track, like, just uninterrupted playing just like this at some point. Like, this track is too good. Okay, it's just really, really good. I can't say it's, like, my favorite track in the entire soundtrack or anything, but I do love this one a lot, and I've gained a new respect for it. I've gained a new love for it. Certified Bop Award goes to the Forest Kingdom, and that's all I'm going to say. That's all that needs to be said. Okay, we're moving on now. Next up, we'll be talking about Dark Colossus, Kaiju. One thing that I didn't know about this track until recently, and by recently I mean like 2 or 3 days ago, while playing through NieR Replicant, is that this song is actually a reference to the original NieR. Like, this song is in the original NieR, and I didn't quite realize that until the other day I was playing through Replicant and I heard Dark Colossus in there, and I was like, I knew this song was in this game, but I couldn't remember when. And so now I know. Dark Colossus is a song from the original NieR that was put here in NieR Automata, but it's a different version. So it's different. I feel like I could have been a little more eloquent with that, but oh well. The point being is that Dark Colossus Kaiju is Automata's version of this track, and it plays when you're basically fighting a giant sea monster. And it's a long fight. The fight against this sea monster, I think it's at least 30 minutes when you play through it. And it's definitely not a favorite boss fight for me, and I'm sure that others who have played through the game will agree. It's a very, very long fight. So a lot of the time, you know, this music is just kind of in the background, and I imagine it's one of those tracks that, even though it is a great battle track and it does the job in creating the atmosphere, it kind of is another one that falls to the wayside when you're playing the game because you're just hyper focused on getting past this giant boss. So it's difficult to appreciate the music when you're playing through the game, this particular song, and it only plays during this boss fight. Now, mind you, if you played through the game, you already know this, but for those of you who haven't played the game, you will encounter this boss twice, so you'll hear this track at least twice in the game. But beyond that, it doesn't really play. And so, like, you don't get a chance to really appreciate this song because, again, you're so hyper focused when you're playing the game anyway. You're so hyper focused on just getting through the boss and, you know, getting into the story of what's happening while you're playing through it. So it's kind of hard to focus on the music at this particular point in the story, just because there's just a lot happening when you're playing through the game and you hear this track. But this track is really good. It's composed extremely well. The vocals are on point. Pretty much everything about this song is on point, and just the way it's designed and everything about it is great. I really do like listening to it in the background whenever I am doing chores and stuff and I'm listening to the full soundtrack. Like, this isn't one that I ever skip. I really, really like this one. It's just that a lot of the time it does serve better as background noise. And even though I appreciate this song, like, it's also not necessarily a favorite. But it is really good. It's definitely one that will hype you up, and it has like these quieter moments that build on the atmosphere and builds on the next section of the song that creates, you know, like, it's very powerful in that way. It has its ups, it has its downs, and when it wants you to feel the energy, it will smack you with it. And that's what we want. I mean, why else do we get into these games? And it's not just for the story, you know. Yes, we want the story to smack us, but we want the music to smack us too. We want the music to slay us. That's why we're here. Okay, really, I'm just speaking for myself, but you get the point. So yeah, this is a good song. I like it. And while it's not necessarily a favorite, it's composed brilliantly and it does the job. So we'll move on to the next one now. Okay, then the final track that we will cover today is Copied City. One thing that is fantastic about this track right off the bat, the piano. And really nothing else needs to be said. The piano is absolutely phenomenal. And again, this is another certified bop, because the way that this track builds, the way that it introduces new sounds, like, it is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. Especially, like, the vocals are outstanding and the atmosphere that this gives off is outstanding. It has, like, this mysterious vibe, but it also has, like, this darkness to it. And you can tell that, like, this is one of those atmospheric villain themes. It is absolutely on point in every single way. I love this song. It is so good. I'm not sure if I'll have anything to say aside from outright gushing, because everything about it is just phenomenal. It's a production. It is a cinematic song, especially when the beat kicks in and when the violins do their thing and the piano is just going the entire time. It is brilliant. It just, the way each instrument creates the sound of this song is phenomenal. And again, when the vocals kick in and they do their thing and all the elements of the song are together, it is absolutely outstanding. And so, even though I believe that this song really only plays in the Copied City, I think it plays in one other place, but it's toward the end of the game, so I don't want to say what it is. But more often than not, you're really only gonna focus on this song in the Copied City. And man, this song is good. It is just fantastic. It is, like I said, it's mysterious. It invokes just these feelings of, like, it hypes you up, like, and it tells its own story in a way, and it's just good. I wish I had more to say about it. I'm finding that with the songs that I really love the most, it's hard for me to express why I love them so much, but this one is really atmospheric while still being melodic and beautiful and pretty. And especially the piano. Again, like when you hear that piano music, like you know that the music ain't gonna be playing around. Like it's very good. And again, the percussion is just like the beat for this is absolutely great. I love listening to this one. This is again is probably one of my top 5. I don't know where it would be exactly, but it's in there. It's in the top 5 for sure. I love this track a lot. It is really just outstanding. I wish I had a more eloquent way to express my feelings about this song, except from just saying, oh my gosh, I love it. But that's about all I have. I love this song. It is great. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just perfection in music. It's great. And it invokes the environment of the copied city really, really well. So definitely just, oh yes, thank you. Like the people that made this song, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because it is, it's good. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay. And that's all we're going to. I can't believe we're ending this on like outright gushing and having nothing like productive to say. But yeah, I love the copied city, and we're just gonna end on that. Next time we'll cover the second half of disc 2. A part of me wants to already go ahead and start talking about it because Wretched Weaponry is in my ear, and that's also a top 5 one, but I'll talk about it next time. So if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like on this video, leave a comment if you want to, subscribe, and yeah, I think that's all. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me rant like a crazy lady about this music. And I hope you all have a great day. God bless you all. See you next time. Mwah!